In the early 1900s, the U.S. Army used training in boxing. It was seen as important both to prepare troops for combat and provide entertainment at stateside military camps and stations. The Army made boxing a regular training exercise, while the Navy emphasized boxing as entertainment. In World War I, the Commission on Training Camp Activities established training programs unique to the U.S. war effort. Boxing and several other sports became mandatory activities in military training camps. Boxing would ready troops for hand-to-hand combat. Additionally, training in boxing would lead to success with the bayonet and boost overall confidence. For the boxing program, each major camp would have an experienced boxer as the camp instructor, with assistants to work with each unit. One of the most famous of these boxers was Joe Louis Burrow. Known to America as Joe Louis, he put on an Army uniform in the early part of 1942. He wasn't just another young African American. He was boxing's world heavyweight champion, a title that he held since 1937. Born in Alabama in 1914, Louis was the seventh of 8 children born to Monroe and Lily Burrow. As a child in the sharecropper household, there were so many mouths to feed and fields to tend. Louis had very little formal education. He had been very slow to develop, slow to talk and walk, and when he did, he spoke with a stutter. Louis was considered a quiet, good-natured child who did as he was told and never made trouble. He took to boxing quickly, and by mid-1934, after several years of learning not only how to fight, but how to win, he was victorious in 50 out of 54 amateur fights with 43 knockouts. Louis was ready to go pro as a heavyweight, and did so on July 4th, 1934, knocking out his opponent in the first round. His boxing career took off from there. Louis went to boot camp but was never destined for combat. His greatest value in the war effort was in his popularity. In a time where few, if any, photos of black soldiers in uniform were printed, a poster of Louis became one of the most popular for war bond advertisements. Dressed in full combat gear, wielding a rifle with a fixed bayonet, the poster quoted a line from a speech Louis had given at a fundraiser. "We're going to do our part, and we'll win because we're on God's side." The slogan became wildly popular, boosting the idea that America was on the right side of the fight. The only fighting Louis would do would be in the ring. He defended his title again in March 1942, raising money for the Army Emergency Relief Fund. Joe was one of America's favorite heroes. While America had many heroes, some lay under white crosses on distant shores. Others returned home wounded beyond recognition, and many more were average young Americans who answered their country's call. Some carried rifles, others loaded large naval guns, or flew an aircraft. But Joe Louis, one of America's favorite heroes, fought with his fists.